Philly Union, Philadelphia Union coming to the bank. So we want to talk about it. Let's bring in Steve Cangialosi, play-by-play announcer for MLS Season Pass. Steve, thank you for your time, man.
Appreciate you being such a hospitable host. And I just got to Charlotte about 10 minutes ago, and here I am ready to dive into what I think is one of the more interesting games I'll do all season. Thanks for having me.
Look, Steve, I want to get you in and out because, look, it's still time for you to stop at Bojangles.
Oh, okay.
You got to stop by Bojangles.
Room service burger, and that's probably a mistake. Yeah, my bad.
All right, let's get to it, man. So decision day tomorrow. Look, Charlotte FC a lock to make the playoffs, but look, they want to get that home field advantage for round one. But there's some pressure in that, man. Do you think they can handle that pressure? I mean, what are you? I guess what are you expecting tomorrow?
Well, the first thing I'll say is that the pressure is real because there are several ways Charlotte can clinch a top four finish and home field advantage, but I really think the only viable option for them is to win this game for the simple reason that I don't think they will get sufficient help elsewhere. If New York City wins its game, then that puts the pressure on Charlotte to get the same result. So it's an intriguing matchup in so many ways. They're playing the number one seed in the entire MLS Cup playoffs in the Philadelphia Union, who've clinched the Supporters' Shield. And I think a lazy way to look at this would be Philadelphia doesn't have anything to play for. They're locked into the top spot. But having spoken to the people in Philadelphia, having known the coach, Bradley Carnell, for a long time, trust me, they're going to play this to win, and it's going to be the most difficult match imaginable. Is Charlotte equipped for it? Absolutely. And it's not just home field advantage that I think they're trying to establish the crown. I think they're trying to keep momentum going into the postseason. And if they win, that would mean 13-3-1 in the previous 17 games going into the playoffs. That's momentum I would sign up for any day of the week.
We talk a lot about Zaha, Wilfred Zaha, but I'm thinking about a guy like Kerwin Vargas. Like, what has he meant to this team so far? And you talk about that momentum. I mean, he's been a major player for Charlotte FC.
He's been better and better as his career has gone on. And to punctuate his importance to the team, it's at a zenith right now because Pep Biel is out for the season. That was the crushing blow that head coach Dean Smith firmed up with us yesterday. You're talking about the absence of a player with 22 goal contributions, the most on the team this season. And Vargas is the kind of guy who I think has to play well along with Brandt Bronico to make sure that they don't feel the hit from the absence of such a talented player. I've watched him for a while. I think his career has progressed in all the right ways. What Zaha gives you on the left, if that's complemented by what Vargas gives you on the right, then this is, I think, as dangerous a team as I think Crown fans hope they will be in the postseason. We know Charlotte's strength. This was the best defensive team in the Eastern Conference 1 year ago. They allowed a few more goals than they did last year, but they're a better overall team. And the reason for that, players like Kerwin Vargas, who've made sure already that they've set a club record for most goals scored in a single season. He is instrumental to what they do. Make no mistake about that.
Hey, Steve, Jeb here. So my question that I think a lot of Charlotte FC fans are kind of thinking about right now is obviously we're without Pep Biel. That's a big loss. But during that historic unbeaten run, he wasn't really a factor. He was hurt then too. So do you think this injury actually is a massive blow to the title chances, or do you think there's still plenty to be optimistic about come the playoffs?
To your point, they were never better, ironically, when Biel was sidelined or playing minimally because he just was not right since Leagues Cup. That is a fact, and you make a very credible point, Jeb. But what I would say is this. from my experience, and I've been around this league a while, and the playoff format in particular now, leads me to believe that the postseason is really a war of attrition. And it's kind of an all hands on deck thing. I don't think you take a Pep BL out of the lineup without feeling it at some point. Because remember, that first round is best of three. But then you get into the interesting part of the postseason where I think more often than not, the teams that are going to go all the way to MLS Cup or very deep, they're going to wind up playing, remember, not a 90-minute game, but somewhere along the lines, probably a 120-minute game as well. And I think that's where you feel the hit. I did Charlotte's win over Miami a few weeks ago, and I thought it was perfect when Dean Smith kept the lineup that was doing all of those good things that you alluded to during the 9-game winning streak. But he had the luxury to bring on BL late in that game to solidify the whole thing. That's something he doesn't have in his toolbox anymore. Do I think it hurts? Absolutely. Is it a killer? All I'll say is it doesn't have to be with this team. They have other mechanisms to win.
You bring up that amazing game against Miami, kind of Charlotte's really their marquee win of the season. Obviously, I know we defeated San Diego as well, but that was really, all right, this is not a fluke. We've got an offense. It's firing on all cylinders. Edon Toklamati had, to date, the best game of his life. Since then, hasn't been as much of a factor. How important will it be for the Crown to get him back on the score sheet, more involved on the offense, and take some of the pressure off of Wilfred Zaha to get those goals?
Everybody wants to see Edon Toklamati score goals. That's understood. I think that his pace, in order to stretch the game, is the most instrumental thing that we can talk about. You're talking about someone, I'm not going to read too much into that short body of work leading into tomorrow's game that you alluded to. Fact of the matter for me is he has 10 goals in his last 16 matches since Patrick Agyemang left this team to go to Europe. And that's enough of a body of work for me to say, hey, this is a guy who's going to give you the right things. The one thing that you can't really predict is how Toklamati and a lot of other players come playoff time are going to react to the pressure of the postseason, because it is a different thing. It's a unique situation that even Javier Mascherano, a great player at Barcelona, who's now the coach of the Inter Miami team, I was talking with him about this a few days ago, and I asked him, this is your first playoff, what do you think? And he said, I don't know what to think. It's a different kind of pressure because one bad game, one misstep could mean the end of your season. So you're talking about young players experiencing this for the first time. I'm fascinated by the way he'll handle it. Let's put it this way. He's handled everything up until this point, I think, as admirably as you can. And the skill set is a little different from Agyemang's, right? He doesn't have to use the physicality, that element of the game, in order to be an impact player. He's got a lot of other good things going for him. I expect him tomorrow in that big spot to respond with poise. I'd be surprised if he didn't score in the postseason either in a 3-game series.
Absolutely. And how lucky are we to be able to replace a player like Patrick Agyemang with Edon Toklamati so seamlessly. So, I mean, it truly seemed almost effortlessly. Hopefully, Archie Goodwin and other players kind of in the developmental phase right now do the same when they finally get the call. Let's shift over to our opponents. Philadelphia Union has been red hot this season. That attack is one of the most exciting, one of the most electric I've seen watching MLS. They already had Ty Baribo. They added midway through the season my personal favorite this year, Milan Iloski, who when he scored 4 goals against Vancouver, I thought this guy's the real deal. And then San Diego decided we'll probably move on without him. I know there's behind-the-scenes stuff that we're not privy to, but I thought Philadelphia picking him up was the rich getting richer. What can Charlotte do tomorrow to stop that attack? We don't know who they're going to play. I don't know if they'll play a rotated lineup. You said yourself, it's a competitive team. They're going to want that win. Regardless of who shows up, that attack is lethal. So how do we stop it?
Let's dismiss right now any notion of Philadelphia playing this game safe. It's just not in Bradley Carnell's DNA. He's going to keep his best player on the field, and they're on the artificial surface, which they're not obviously as accustomed to as Charlotte. But they are going to play this to win because, simply put, as he told me yesterday, we respect the game and the league too much to do anything else. It's a tough game because you're going up against a team when it's focused and even when it's not, that the ledger says has given up the fewest goals in MLS this season. That was Charlotte's calling card for the longest time. Philadelphia, I think, is going to win in the postseason a lot of low-scoring games because that is what they're all about. It is their MO. The challenge of figuring out who plays and when, I wouldn't dive too deep into that because I think it's a futile exercise. I think in some way, shape, or form, Carnell is going to give significant minutes to his top 4 attacking players. We know who they are. You mentioned Baribo. Mikel has become very important now in the lead up to the playoffs. He's playing some of his best soccer. Bruno Damiani is up top as well. And Alosky, as you mentioned, I think now more than ever, we can project him to be in one of those attacking midfield roles and not as a striker because of the injury to Quinn Sullivan. That's a big hit for the Union. He's out for the season with a torn ACL. This is a good team. It's a balanced team. I don't think there's a weakness on the team. I will say one thing. Andre Blake is a 3-time MLS goalkeeper of the year. And I don't think there's been a single time since he played his first playoff game in 2016 where the Union ever stepped on the field thinking he was the second best goalkeeper in any game. And now I'm not so sure about that going into tomorrow because Kalina has been that good. I don't think he's going to win goalkeeper of the year a second straight season, but I do think if you look at that body of work the last 13, 14 games, man, he's been lights out, and it's been reminiscent of what he did last year. That 9-game winning streak, he was the best barometer of that team's strength, in my opinion. He gave up 4 goals during that 9-game run. That's remarkable stuff.
Yeah, it has been nice to see. Obviously, he had some struggles midway through the season, but the Christian Kalina, that one goalkeeper of the year, has showed up big. And if we do want to make a run in the playoffs this year, he will be essential. You're absolutely right. Before we let you go, MLS Decision Day is one of, in my opinion, the best traditions in American sports. It has delivered year in and year out. Obviously, we are in a very, very important game. You know, I know that you're covering our game, you're focusing on our game, but are there any other matches, any other teams you think that fans may want to have in the back of their minds? Maybe go on MLS 360, see what the guys and Kalen are talking about. I mean, it should be a heck of a day.
I'll say this. Dean Smith told me yesterday when I spoke with him in the lead up to the game, we will not be scoreboard watching. He said the teams that still have a chance to catch us in the Eastern Conference table, New York City and Nashville, they have their business, we have ours, which is to win the game. And even a scenario late in the game where a draw might clinch home field advantage for Charlotte, he said they're not going to consider that. They're just going to keep doing their thing. They're not a team that invites pressure and likes to play in a low block. To your point, there's a lot else on the table. Messi's going for the Golden Boot. Miami still has a chance to catch Cincinnati. They're going to need some help to do that. That won't be easy. If you're looking for another game in the late window, to me, it's Vancouver. If they win the West. And Thomas Mueller has energized an entire market in the Pacific Northwest. They're a team that's there to be taken seriously. And should they win tomorrow in their regular season finale, you're looking at a club, if they defeat FC Dallas, that's going to be a tough out playing on their home soil in Canada in the postseason. They're so well coached with Jesper Sorensen. That's one to watch. It's one of my favorite days of the year as well, Jeb.
It's going to be such a great one. And you look at the West, you look at what Vancouver has done with Thomas Mueller, what LAFC has done with Sung-Hun Min. I mean, it is an exciting time in the MLS, and hopefully if Charlotte FC does make it all the way, which I know we're all pulling for, it will be a heck of a match whoever they play at the end. Steve Cangialosi, we seriously appreciate you giving us your time. This has been fantastic. I know we'll all be watching with prying eyes and listening to your call tomorrow. We can't wait. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Dean Smith said, we know how strong we are at the bank. This is big stuff tomorrow if they get the win and assure themselves home field advantage. Thanks for having me.
Yep, I know you've seen some great crowds in your day. This might be one of the best. Thank you. Have a good night rest.
Thanks,
and we'll hear you on
Steve.
the call.